Merry Christmas. When we hear the phrase, I wouldn't be surprised if a list of traditions, memories, and even warm sentiments come to mind when I think about Christmas. I think about the smell of monkey bread in the oven, just the caramelized sugar and cinnamon. It's fantastic. I also think of friends and family. Night of Joy and Christmas Eve services are super special to our families. I think of that. I just think of my son Reed. He's too young to understand what the present is, but he loves wrapping paper. So the sound of him crinkling wrapping paper and his face just lighting up are really special thoughts. However, if I'm being honest, there have been a few times around Christmas where a friend or a family member corners me and they want to tell me a Christmas memory. And when they tell me their Christmas memory, it goes something along the lines of, back in my day when I was a kid, your uncle's aunt's cousin, 3-time removed in 1946. Wait, Aunt Susie, was it 1946 or 1947? Oh, that's right, it was 1947. Uncle Bob, he was riding that sled down the hill and he shot off the hill, broke his leg. Wait, no, that wasn't Susie, that was Greg's nephew cousin. And you just go, I don't even know what's happening. I think someone broke their leg sledding off the roof, but there's so many dates and names referenced in the story, I'm trying to piece together my whole family tree. And it's a spiral of these distant names and dates that carry on for what seems like a long time. And then finally, we get around to the actual story itself. Where I'm going with this, today's chapter in our Advent book covers Matthew chapter 1, verses 1 through 17. And this portion of the Christmas story is a detailed genealogy list naming 42 different names. And I'm gonna have to level with you on this. There have been times in my life when this genealogy list kind of feels like somebody sharing a really long family story that recaps an entire family tree. But after much life-extensive experience, I've come to appreciate these genealogies. Not just the genealogies of my own personal family, but also of Scripture. They are inspired by God, and they provide an orderly, historical account that defends the authenticity of Scripture, but also declares of God's faithfulness. And our God is a God who keeps His promises from generation to generation to generation. And I just want to read a quote from our Advent book today so you can hear a little bit about this. It says on page 21, "There were times during Israel's history when God seemed to have forgotten His promise or even appeared to have been destroying it Himself. God's people felt that He had shunted them into a cul-de-sac and left them there. Yet this genealogy shows us that God was keeping His promise all the time, from beginning to end. From the very beginning, God knew exactly where He was going. Throughout the centuries, He was directing His story towards this moment, the moment of His birth, the birth of His Son, Jesus Christ. And I may lose focus from time to time when I read a genealogy in Scripture. It's true, but one thing is for sure, when the genealogies seem long, I pause to remind myself that God has patiently and faithfully kept His promises, and this genealogy points to the promise of Jesus Christ. And friends, your God is faithful. There is a long list of people from this genealogy that connect to you. This biblical genealogy of all these people, person after person after person, who heard the life-changing message of Jesus Christ and told someone, who told someone, who told someone, who finally told you. And when God allowed you to unwrap that message of Jesus Christ in your mind for the first time, you opened the greatest gift you will ever receive. And when this video ends, I would just encourage you to pause and pray to thank God for that generational gift of salvation by grace through faith in Jesus Christ. Why don't we do that now? Merry Christmas.